Good day, Sir Blasphemy here for Sir Blasphemy's Travels. Hope you guys are doing well out there, and I hope you're having the days you deserve. So, decided to do a little video today, guys, about 5 reasons to not become a Renaissance Fair vendor. And I thought I would kind of take you guys out of my normal little spot and take you for a little walk and kind of take you through the little area that I walk through every morning. Take this walk, and so thought I'd have you guys join me on this one instead of sitting in a boring old room and you know, just staring at a wall and hearing me talk. So let's take this walk. I'll show you some sights and give you those reasons why you should not become a Renaissance Fair vendor. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, had to take a little break there just for a second at the beginning of the video, because normally I walk this route and I'm by myself the whole time, and of course there's somebody like walking right with me, like for the first time ever on this route. You know, there are people that walk this route that I'm walking, but not usually in my vicinity, and of course someone shows up when I'm doing a video. So anyway, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about 5 reasons you should not become a Renaissance Fair vendor. And I guess that there's a lot of reasons. I'm sure that some of you guys, some of you other vendors and entertainers that do Renaissance Fairs could probably say this down in the comments of the ones that I am not putting on this video, because there's tons of reasons, and there's tons of reasons to be one. But I'm just going to try to highlight about 5. They're not necessarily in order of importance, and they're not necessarily the most important reasons, right? But these are some of the ones that I know that I deal with, and most vendors deal with too as well. So I'm gonna have to put at number 5 here, again, no particular order, I'm gonna put it number 5. Renaissance fairs can be expensive. All right, just like anything, you're starting a business, it can be expensive, but it's a different kind of expense, because you're essentially taking your show on the road. You're paying expenses to go out, whether you know, gas, whatever the case may be, but you've also got your stuff up front and you have no idea whether it's going to sell or not. And unlike having like a retail store or something of that nature, where you can kind of stock it up, you can kind of see what's going, you can kind of casually place orders. Usually with Ren fairs, you pretty much each show have to make everything up front for the most part, and you can do, some people can do work while they're at the Ren fair, and but most of the time you can't, depending on what it is. So it's pretty expensive. Contracts are expensive, and it depends on what kind of contract you get. Maybe sometime I'll do a video on those contracts and kind of explain them to you, because there are a variety of different contracts that you get at Renaissance festivals. Some take a percentage of what you make and you pay something up front. Some just take a straight percentage, and then some just take a fee. But if you switch what you're doing, it could switch what the contract is. So yeah, it can be expensive, guys. You got to make sure you have all of your stuff up front most of the time. And you know, but that's a business though. You know, you have to be prepared for that. So I mean, just know that you're gonna put up some cash to do this. You're gonna put up some cash to get where you're going. You're gonna put up some cash for the contract, for your supplies, for your workers if you have any. And just know it takes a little bit to get your money back. It's not like you're gonna be rich off the first fair. It's not gonna happen. And then you gotta hope your product sells. So there you go. So it can be expensive at first. So that's number 5. So number 4, this one is definitely a big one. This is something that you have to consider if you want to be a Renaissance Fair vendor, and this is probably a reason why you would not want to become one. Number 4, you're, again, no particular order, you're on the road a lot. You're on the road a lot, which means that you're not at home, okay? If you're single like I am, it's a little bit easier, but even this is still hard. You're constantly driving, you're constantly going to the next thing, especially if you get to be known at these fairs and they start to pick you. You're driving all over the country because there's fairs all over the place, okay? And so just about every state has a major one that you want to hit, you know, at some point, especially if you're doubling up after a while, whatever the case may be, but you're driving all over the place. You're just not at home. You can pretty much count on, just depending on how hard you hit this, you're gone 8 to 10 months out of the year, okay? Now, if you have a home that you own, if you have a home that you've bought, you know, then it's different, because that's your investment, that's your home. You know, you can pay for that as you're on the road, so on and so forth. It's that added expense that you have to have, that is your home. But if you're a rental person, if you have a rented space, if you're renting an apartment or a house or whatever the case may be, to be honest with you, if I had to give you advice and you were doing this full time and you're doing it 10 months out of the year, 8 to 10 months, whatever, even half, even 6 months, I would recommend just not get, I mean, you're not going to be at the house anyway. I would quit renting, period. And I would get you something like an RV to take with you. And this can fall into that expense category that I just mentioned. I mean, this is something you have to consider. You have to consider living on the road until you can figure out, you know, what your path is going to be, how you're going to do it, how you get employees so you can be at home more often. And if you have a family, this can be hard. If you have a family, it can be really, really hard unless they're going with you. And I see it all the time. I see families go with vendors all the time. They're together because you're away from home all the time. And so it's something to think about. You're never at home. Again, if I had to give you advice, I wouldn't rent anything. If I was doing this full time, 8 to 10 months out of the year, I wouldn't rent anything, because you're paying all these expenses renting and you're never there. Okay, I'm having that dilemma right now. And it's like, you know what? Why am I paying these things and I'm not there? So it's something to think about. You're always on the road, guys. You're always, you know, you're away from home. And it's hard, it's not easy. So something to think about. So number 4 is definitely, you're always on the road, always on the road. So just be prepared for that. And that's just another reason why you shouldn't become a Renaissance Fair vendor. Not sure if you guys can see those guys flying around. They're always flying around in this area. I don't know if you can see them. They're kind of up in the sky, the little paragliders. It's kind of cool. So, all right. So, giving you a couple of reasons to not be a Renaissance Fair vendor. Here's number 3. Number 3, you need to invest in an RV, all right? Whether you need it or not, in anything else you do in life, you're going to eventually find out that you're going to need something to stay in, because the lodging gets too expensive, and certain fairs you can't stay on property. There's so many reasons. I mean, I'm dealing with this right now, where the time has come, I'm going to have to get an RV. And the reason why is I'm tired of paying. This could fall again under expenses, number 5, but I should rename this number 3. It's the battle for somewhere to stay. That always, it's continuous at every fair. It's a struggle, guys. I mean, some fairs have utilities and full hookups, but then you get there and they're all unless you're there early, they're all snagged up. So you're either boondocking, you're camping, or you're staying in a hotel. That's it. That's all you're doing. Or you're staying in your building if you're one of the lucky ones that have a building at your fair that you can stay in. But most fairs won't even let you stay in your building full time. So again, guys, there is a constant battle for where you stay, where you rest your head, what you got to do, and it's something that you need to be prepared for. Like I said, the worst fair I've ever done has nothing to do with the state or nothing like that. It's my favorite state. I love California, but they have the worst Renaissance Fair ever. You can't stay on site. You have to stay off site. So you're either choosing to find an RV area or you're finding a hotel. That's it. So when I did that fair, I stayed at a hotel. Everything about that fair was difficult. Everything about it. It was a horrible fair. In general, the management was piss poor, all that. But you just don't know what you're going to run into. I know that when you go to Scarborough Renaissance Festival, they have limited hookups for the people camping. If you're not there early with your RV, you're not getting the hookups. That's it. You know, and I know TRF, I think TRF pretty much can almost accommodate everybody, but not quite, even them. I know Sherwood, I don't think they have hardly any hookups, if they have any at all. So it's something to think about. You have to be prepared for this. And if you don't have an RV or you can't get one, you are staying in hotels or you are camping, which means if you're doing that, you're going without a lot of things, which we'll discuss in the next one. But it's something to think about. It's your battle for lodging is the ongoing struggle. It never ends. I'm always thinking ahead about where am I going to stay while I'm there? What am I going to do? Oh, okay, I got into this fair now. I got to call around. I've got to find out where I can stay, because I don't have an RV yet, and which I think is about to change because I'm tired of doing this. But I always have to call ahead, and I have to go, okay, and I have to call a series of places. Where can I stay? Where can I stay? Oh, what's your amenities like? What's this? What's this? So I can figure out, I need Wi-Fi, I need all of these things. And so, again, guys, the battle for lodging is real. So that's my third reason why you should not, or number 3 reason to not become a Renaissance Fair vendor, the battle for lodging. All right, guys, so the number 2 reason you should not become a Renaissance Fair vendor. Just get right into it. Lack of common amenities. So when you are on the road all the time, as many of you know that see this, you don't always have access to a full kitchen, you know, even full microwave or whatever you need to make food or basic necessities. Sometimes you don't have access to showers. You got to buy those things depending on where you're staying and what you're doing. So you have to, I've said this before in other videos, you have to minimalize what you're doing. You have to essentially take everything down into basically a small case. I bring literally with me, I have to stay in hotels right now, and I have to find like deals on hotels, right? Because I need to shower, I need to do all these things, and I just have my Jeep right now, and so I have to stay, you know, places like, even though I don't want to, but you know, I could camp and everything like that, but I have animals that I have to take with me, ones that are old and diabetic, so the weather wouldn't be good for them. There's all kinds of reasons to think, especially if you've got animals, you know. So this is my number 2 right here, is your reduced amenities. You just don't have a lot of the common things that you need. You have to basically pack it down into a lunch pail, so to speak. So it's something to think about. You know, I like I said, I'm in a hotel room. I have to attach like a little Bunsen burner. I have a pot. I have a couple of plates and stuff that I bring with me, with a knife and a fork and whatever. And that's it. That's what I bring with me. And most of the time, my diet will consist of either canned food, because it's not like you know, there's some places though that might offer like barbecue grills, or someone will let you do that and you can barbecue from time to time. But I mean, I'm doing canned food. I'm doing lots of salads, which is good, but you get sick of eating canned food or something that you can make on a Bunsen burner day after day, and you end up craving something different. So, which falls in line where you go, all right, I'll go get something to eat. I'm going to go out to eat once or twice a week, and then that can be expensive. That's an added expense. So just understand that you are not going to have the modern comforts of maybe you're used to at home. You can bring some of them with you. You know, that even goes with your clothes. You're gonna have reduced clothing, all of that stuff. So it's just something to think about. That's my number 2, is you have reduced amenities. Another reason why you should not become a Renaissance Fair vendor. So the number 1 reason, and again, no particular order, and this is not necessarily number one. I'm just listing this for you, but is the number 1 reason I think why you should not become a Renaissance Fair vendor is that you can't get into every fair. And if you do, you're lucky, but you can't always get into every fair. Once you get this going, guys, once you get this ball rolling, let's say you get into 1 or 2 fairs and you're like, I can make a living at this. You've sold a couple of things, you've tested 1 or 2 fairs, and you're like, I can do this, I'm making money, this is good. You know, I can handle the road, I can handle the expenses, I can handle these things, I've got an RV or whatever, or I've got a van, whatever the case may be, I can do this. And then all of a sudden, you're ready, you're like, I quit my full-time job, or I have another business, I'm selling that business, whatever you're doing. all of a sudden you send out a bunch of applications to different fairs, and you see when their spacing's at, what time of year they are, and all this stuff. And the next thing you know is you're getting rejected. Reject after reject after reject. And you've dedicated, you know, 2 fairs a year is not going to be enough for me to make a living. I have to have this going full time. And at that point, you have to decide, is this worth it anymore? Is it worth it? Did I just give up my job, or did I give up whatever the case may be to pursue this? If I could only get into these fairs. Trust me, I've been rejected from my home fair, Arizona, and Colorado. I was actually accepted into, and if you'll believe it or not, then they turned me down after they accepted me because I sell CBD products. Go figure, in Colorado, right? Doesn't make any sense. So because they thought that I'm giving drugs to people. They just have a limited understanding, strangely enough, at the Colorado Renaissance Festival, of what, you know, my product is. It's silly. So anyway, if you don't know what my product is, come see me out at a fair, you'll see. But anyway, I'm not going to get into details with that. But yeah, all of a sudden you're looking good, you're making a little cash, you did your Ren Fair, you're filling out the vendor applications, you're submitting them, and you're paying. Which I think is the dumbest thing for fairs to do. Some fairs, I want to mention this right now, some fairs, most fairs don't do this, but some fairs will charge you like a $20, $30 jury fee or application fee to send in your stuff. So then you're sending them $20, $30, and you're not getting accepted. So, you know, I mean, you're wasting money sending it to them. But so you have to be prepared for that. But yeah, all of a sudden you're good to go, and next thing you know, you're not getting accepted into the fairs. And just like that, you have to decide, okay, I want to keep doing this, but I'm not getting accepted anywhere, or I've got one fair on the East Coast that I got accepted to, and then boom, I got to go to the West Coast because those are the only ones that accepted me. And I've got to go here, and then I got to go there. So you have to, I mean, those are reasons to not become a Renaissance Fair vendor, those 5. So I hope that and there's a lot more reasons than that. And again, I don't want to tank you out or make you not want to do this. I just want to make sure that you're prepared for what's coming if you get into this. Just like anything, just like any business, there are hiccups and hang-ups and things and reasons why you shouldn't do it. But there's a lot of reasons in this why you should do it too. So, and I always do videos on that, but you know, on that kind of, those reasons too. Sorry, I was looking at something down here as I was walking. But yeah, so that's just my opinion. There's 5 simple reasons. Again, guys, for other vendors that see this and entertainers, go ahead and comment down below and tell the folks out there maybe some more reasons why you shouldn't do this. I know I left a ton out. There's a ton. But these are just some that get you thinking, some that, you know, you have to be on the lookout for. So I hope that helps you out on your journey to become a Renaissance Fair vendor, or not, whatever the case may be. But either way, hang on, we're about to walk down a hill. But either way, you know, it helps to have this knowledge and to be informed in this area. So, all right, guys, so that's going to be it for my video. I'm glad you took a walk with me this morning. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tickle that bell for future notifications, and don't forget to comment. I always comment back 100% of the time. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me again. Just to let you know, coming up, I'm going to be at the Sherwood Forest Fair. So we'll be starting to do some videos for Sherwood coming up, and yeah, we're going to have some more fun at the Renaissance Fair. So, all right, guys, that's it for me today. You guys have a wonderful day and even a better tomorrow, and we'll talk to you soon. Until next video, Sir Blasphemy, out.